I'm sorry. Michael Luongo, AP Broadcast. Ben, to have the mindset that you guys wanted to have to lock this out and then be able to execute it, just describe what was that like for this team to be able to do what you did out there?
Amazing. I think everybody was kind of on their toes before the game, just making sure we were all locked in because we didn't want to, have an upset and go back to Brooklyn. So I think everybody did a good job of locking in and doing their job.
Ben, right here in the front, your history against Kawhi is no secret, and having problems going against him. I mean, sure, you're expecting their team to be even more ramped up in the second round. So how do you, guard against or go against and try to not to have the problems you've had in the history?
Prepare, stay focused.
Ben, Anthony Gilbert, Hoop Magazine. Great players become legendary in the playoffs. Can you talk about your experience in the playoffs from last year to this year?
I think so far, over the 2 seasons I've played, I've grown a lot in terms of maturity, just playing the game and learning that point guard position that I was kind of thrown into. But I've been enjoying it. So I think so far it's been ups and downs, but I'm getting there.
Tani Samagi, Eagle News Philippines. How much has this playoff experience taught you in terms of your development as a player?
A lot. For me, I gotta be the guy who's running the team. I'm the point guard. I have the ball for a majority of the time, bringing it up, and I gotta kind of orchestrate everything going on. So, it's a blessing and a curse, but I'm really enjoying, having the opportunity to do that.
Ben, back here again. This playoff run was a little different than last year's. Last year's you had a team that was kind of in cohesiveness, and you had a streak going into Miami. This year, a new squad of players. You had to learn each other from the get-go practically. Doing that, the way you guys came together, does this make it a little more satisfying of a series win because of the way you guys had to come together and do it rather quickly?
I think it's just the playoffs, and I think that brings the best out of good players, and I think everybody's kind of on that same wave mindset. To where we're trying to win a championship and trying to get on the same page with that.
Hey Ben, Jason Blevins, Philly front office. You talked after Game 1 about needing to play downhill and be more aggressive. Is that something you plan on continuing to do? Is it a completely different challenge going against Toronto and the way they play defense versus this team?
No, I gotta keep that mentality, be aggressive and attack the rim and find my guys.
Ben, in front of you, defensively, given the problems you guys had against this team during the regular season, and even in Game 1, do you think this was a good test for you guys, challenge for you guys, kind of preparation for you guys in the first round defensively with the way you guys kind of came together? Yeah,
I think intensity-wise and physicality, I think our team was physical the whole time, besides the first game. I think we did a good job of that, so I think we need to take that over to Toronto.
Joel, Zach Gelb, CBS Sports Radio. Brett just said he feels good about this team and he feels like they're coming together. How do you feel about this team as you guys get ready for the Raptors?
Tonight was a good game. If we as focused as we were tonight, I think we got a pretty good chance to accomplish what we want. After this type of games like tonight, you go back and watch the tape and kind of see what worked out and what didn't. Obviously, we got to lower our turnovers, but other than that, I thought our defense was great.
Joel, when you look at Game 1 to Game 5, Serena over here, do you look at Game 1 like more as a fluke, or do you look at it as growth going into the game that you guys just had?
I look at it as a wake-up call, something we needed to kind of go back and figure it out. After that game, we weren't worried about, we just lost the first game. We knew what we had to do, and we knew that we didn't do that in Game 1, and we ended up getting 4 straight.
Jason Blevins, Philly front office. You guys, I think, held Brooklyn scoreless in the first 2 minutes of each of the first 3 quarters. Is there anything differently that you guys did at the beginning of those quarters?
No, just being aggressive, trying to put them away. Tonight we did it. Game 2 we did it. Game 3 without me, we did a good job. So just regrouping and halftime and just go for it. And then the speech coach had after at the halftime of Game 2 was huge too.
Paul Hudrick from NBC Sports Philadelphia. Joe, so it seems like you've looked better physically in each game you've played. Do you feel like you're getting better and closer to where you need to be, where you'd like to be?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't finish up the regular season, so just getting my rhythm and, just getting healthier, just doing the right things. I think he's working out well. Still got a long way to go, but, as long as I'm allowed, I'm going to keep pushing. But no, you can't say it. I thought tonight my performance was okay, but that was a great win. Everybody showed up.
Joel, Dave McMenamin, ESPN. Kenny Atkinson sat right there 10, 15 minutes ago and said that the Sixers team that just beat the Nets can contend for a championship. How are you guys in your locker room managing your own expectations as you move through these playoffs?
That's what we think. We think we can win it all. Obviously, it's going to take a lot. You got some great teams in the league. We're about to play one of them, and I don't know. It's going to be the next one. Is either going to be Milwaukee or Boston, and then you got the West, which is pretty tough. So we just got to take one game at a time. But we understand that we got all the talent we need, especially to win it all.
Joe, to your left, you guys are back in the second round. I know last year it was a humbling experience to go through that with Boston, but where would you compare where you are now going back into the second round, just where your mentality is and just confidence going in?
We feel pretty good about what we can do. There's definitely a difference from last year. Feel like this team is better than last year's team. And then last year we had a great momentum going into the playoffs, and Boston just smacked us. But going into this series is, it's different because I've seen it. That's my second time being here. And last year, we were I would say, overconfident on what we could have done. But this year is just about, respecting everything about the game of basketball and, just putting the work in.
Joe, last year in the second round, you guys struggled to stop the dribble penetration. They really gave you problems. With the way Jimmy Butler and Ben Simmons have been playing on the perimeter this year, how much more equipped do you think you guys are?
I'm not going to say anything about last year's guys, but it doesn't make a difference. We got to stick to the game plan, and usually the game plan is to drive all these guys to me and let me do my job as the best defensive player in the league. But if that's the game plan, those guys, they got to do their best as far as containing the ball, and I got their back.
Todd, Philadelphia Inquirer. Can you talk about your guys' defensive performance, especially in that first quarter to jump out to that 14-0 lead?
I think that, as I said in the pregame, I felt comfortable that we have found a defensive game plan. And, when you lose game one, that can be challenged, that notion, is it right or is it wrong? We felt like we were on the right path, even not playing well and losing. We felt it was the correct defensive game plan to see through. To beat this team 4 times in a row is really hard. And I think that, to your point, Sarah, we started the game well. I really was as happy with the first, 2 minutes of the third as I was the start of the game. I thought we came out and tried to continue sort of what we tried to achieve defensively.
Brett, Sean Kennedy, Liberty Ballers. The organization hasn't made it clear that you guys have lofty goals this year. How do you balance that against the accomplishment of reaching the second round of the playoffs?
Say that one more time, please.
You guys have stated that you have lofty goals this year. How do you balance that against the accomplishment of reaching the second round for the second straight year?
I'm not sure how to answer that. No, I can answer stuff quickly. It's like, I can answer it like how I see the world. This is how I see it. We have a team that is slowly coming together. Like, they don't have the luxury of lots of games and lots of context to share upon. And so, you have Joe, you don't. You have Jimmy Butler, you don't. These guys have been great on trying to form a team. And so when you say lofty goals versus reaching the second round, we have more to do. And so this is good. Beating Brooklyn, advancing to the second round, this is good. And it can't be discredited like, oh, you should. On paper, we should. But you're still playing against a team that was a team. They had a hell of a year. I give Kenny Atkinson and Sean Marks credit. And so I will answer it like that and conclude with we still have more to do, a lot more to do.
Hi, Brett. Martin Frank, Delaware News Journal. I was wondering, like, your thoughts on how kind of like the Nets made you guys, come together as a team, especially after game one, in a playoff series and everything, after not having all that much time together with the guys you got.
I mean, I think that immediately it forced us into recognizing that we are vulnerable if we don't play defense like we got to play defense. And I think if I were to go to one specific thing, the first game was a reminder that we better guard the way that we said we wanted to defend them, or it's going to be a long series and one that we could lose. And so when you say it brought us together, I think that is true, but what it really brought us together on specifically is our defense. I thought we came together defensively.
Two more guys. Coach Kai Carlin, Sixers Wire, right in front of you, to your right. Coach, after losing game one, you were able to bounce back and just win 4 straight. What does that say about your team?
I mean, I think it's a little bit like the answer that I just gave. It says really good things. We responded how I hoped that we would and we should. And I felt, like I've said to the group many times, it's land the plane and buy time. Just let's get to the playoffs and buy some time, retain our health, get Joel moving in the direction that he's really trending, I think, in a positive way, and put in tons of time trying to be with us, like physically going overboard, trying to be with us. And I think that buying time is still the answer that I give to keep what we want to do moving forward. And I believe that it is in us.
Brett, I want to follow up on you said we still have more to do. I mean, when you're going in Toronto, you know what your history has been like in the regular season, but this is a different team now. And what are you kind of looking forward to, in that series with this new group?
I mean, we all understand what the math says with our success in Toronto, and it's not flattering. But it's also not directed to the team that we have. And so you can, credit it or you can discredit it. I'm discrediting it. I think that we have a new group. We have a new opportunity. I get tremendous respect for the Toronto team. The coaching staff has done great, but we're excited to go up there and try to fix some of what the math says, our lack of success that we have had. And it's going to be an incredibly tough series. I think that, Toronto is as good as there is in the NBA, and we will be tested immediately when we get up into Toronto.